Hello explorers, thanks for joining us again and welcome back to another exciting and informative video on our YouTube channel. If you are joining us for the first time, we want to thank you for watching. In this episode, we shall be looking at the reason why Nigeria is at a critical juncture in the country's history. There's never been a time that the Nigerian people should be paying attention with regards to the activities and the openings looking at 2023. Nigeria's next government will inherit several stiff challenges, and it is yet unclear whether abundant natural resources will translate into growth. We shall be looking at this video from the North Share, zoning into the federalism in the country of Nigeria, the ailing economy of the country of Nigeria, and we shall also be looking at the multiple security challenges and also present to you a scenario as to the reason why every Nigerian should be paying attention with regards to 2023. So without any more delay, let's just dive straight into it. Amid many uncertainties, Nigeria 2023 presidential elections will certainly bring a change in leadership as President Muhammadu Buhari completes his second and last term in office. Whoever succeeds him will face multiple crises, a contested political system, inflation, high rates of youth unemployment, violent conflicts, terrorism, and also food insecurity. Given Nigeria's regional influence and booming population, the extent to which the next administration will be able to pave the way to growth, security and stabilization will have far-reaching consequences for all of West Africa. Looking forward, Nigeria is a mosaic of nations with different geographic, economic, ethnic and religious characteristics. Maintaining a unitary state in the face of such diversity has always been a challenge. Since the return of civilian rule in 1999, power turnover in Nigeria has taken place according to unwritten rule observed by the country's two main parties, according to which the president and the vice president must alternate between the north and south and also between the 6 established geographical zones. This policy of zoning is designed to ensure that each region and ethnic group has fair access to power. However, as evidenced by the legacy of President Muhammadu Buhari, who is from the state of Katsina in the northern Nigeria, the policy is more than accommodating the ambitions of political elites that are about to develop outcomes. If you look at the zoning activities, much will depend on whether the economy can keep up with the demographic growth in the country of Nigeria. The federal solution was adopted in 1954 but was interrupted during the period of military rule when political changes and the oil booming resulted in the centralization of power. However, despite the return to civilian rule and the federal principles being inscribed in the constitution, the Nigerian political system is often described as a federal constitution without true federalism. Moving forward, fiscal federalism remains a problematic and resource-rich states contest the way wealth is redistributed in the country of Nigeria, while poor states depend on Abuja. As one of these basic assumptions is the financial autonomy of the federal states vis-a-vis the central government, as tensions between the federal and state governments reinforces ethnic and religious division. Nigeria's federalism remains a work in progress. If you look at the Nigerian economy jumping from the zoning system, the current economy in Nigeria has a little bit of questions. The challenges of the Nigerian economy, the excessive size of the government and its high maintenance cost and limited achievements are mirrored in the country's budget. Around 70% covers salaries and allowance, while only 30% is devoted to capital expenditure. For the past 11 years, 72% of the health sector budget has gone to salaries and running costs. If you look at the country of Nigeria, the Nigerian economy still depends on oil and is vulnerable to fluctuations in domestic productions and also global economic prices in terms of oil prices. It is also heavily dependent on state handout. Fuel subsidies in 2022 are expected to cost over $9.6 billion US. While President Buhari has announced those will be rolled back, the decisions has reserved amid inflations and rising fears of unrest. If you look at these different areas, a daunting challenge for the decision makers in the country of Nigeria, one that is unlikely to be solved in the coming decades. Will there be increased adequate conditions that foster growth and job creation? So far, the economic conditions keep pace with the demographic growth in Nigeria. This will not be easy so far, given the structural challenges. After 2 decades of robust growth, the economy is now stagnated. at less than just 1% during the past 6 years. Economic growth has been suspended by a demographic expansion rate of over 2.6% in a year. If you consider the Nigerian strategic move in looking at the challenges that the country is facing, the end of the commodities boom, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the retreat in global trade and international integration have all harmed the Nigerian economy. But even taking those facts into account, the performance of the Buhari administration was far from impressive. If you look at different measurements and also research conducted by Afrobarometer and other research institutions within the region, the last 7 years has been characterized by command and control approaches to economic management based on excessive regulations, high level of public spending, import substitution, subsidies, and also welfare programs. Key indicators suggested that neo-Buharism has largely failed. Since 2015, both internal and external debt sustainability has also increased. In looking at the substantial increases, with the debt stock rising from just over 28 billion to just 72 billion at the moment, the unemployment rate quadrupled to 33%, making Nigeria one of the worst performers in terms of the world's economy. While the underemployment rate is estimated at 22.8%, in June of 2022, inflation stood at just over 18.6%. Nigeria's next president will inherit a dire economic situation. A pressing matter will be to address the growing debt amidst global recessions with significant borrowing from China and commercial creditors. Debt restructuring will be an arduous task if you look at this particular movement. In the medium term to long term, much will depend on whether the economy can keep up with the demographic growth. While fertility rates already declining, the population would continue to increase in the coming decades. If this remains that way, there are anemic growth, slow industrialization, high unemployment, and fragility in terms of the face of the global shocks. Political instability and violence would likely increase. Economic diversification and decentralization will be essential for the Nigerian economy to overcome some of its structural problems. If you are new to this channel, we will encourage you to subscribe and share our videos with your different network. If you consider the multiple challenges that the country of Nigeria faces in terms of security and other issues, reforming Nigeria's federalism and fixing its struggling economy appears even more daunting considering the security outlook. Terrorist groups such as Boko Haram and the Islamic State West African province remains active in the impoverished northeast of the country and are expanding their operations reach, as evidenced by the recent attack on different places across the country of Nigeria. The number of insurgent groups has been rising in Nigeria, reflecting the state's fragile or absence in many parts in terms of the territory of the country of Nigeria. Regardless of the winner, the challenges ahead are such that under the best case scenario, it will take several more years to reap the benefits of reforms. In central Nigeria, violence between farmers and herders and water and lands has escalated in recent years. The occupation and ethno-religious division feeding off others in the southern central regions, violence banditry, and also has become the main threat to security. An organization's group engaged in cattle theft, kidnapping, armed robbery, and murder rape in different areas. In the south, separatist movements have intensified their activities, contesting a state that they deem inefficient and predatory. In the mega city of Lagos, the crimes rate has increased. Nigerian security forces are under-equipped and lack the effective leadership. They are often accused of corruption and human rights abuses, making them ill-suited to address the challenges described in this particular episode. If you look at the different scenarios, considering moving back to Nigeria as a country that has transformed over the years, making some great stride in terms of its growth and development, the extent to which the next administration will fail or succeed in tackling each of those challenges matters well beyond Nigeria's. If the country remains trapped in a vicious cycle of poverty and violence, it will negatively affect the entire West African region. Moreover, a population expected to double in size and reach over 400 million by 2050, and 40% of Nigerians living below the poverty line. Nigeria is the most populous country in the world's most impoverished region. Even a modest reduction in poverty could make the country an example where a failure will make it a cautionary tale. The presidential nominees of the two main parties, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and All People's Progressive Party, the APC, have different priorities and strategies to address Nigeria's main problem. Atiku Abubakar, the flag bearer of the Central IGPP, was vice president between 1999 and 2007. Privatized sectors like telecommunications and banking. His victory will represent a departure from the current economic policy. The PDP candidates present an economic agenda based on three principles: private sector participation, the end of the public monopolies over infrastructure, and market orientation approach to economic challenges. The APC candidate, Bola Tinubu, served as the governor of Lagos, Nigeria's smallest but most populous state, from 1999 to 2007. Since the transition to civilian rule, Mr. Tinubu has been a key figure in Nigerian politics, often acting as kingmaker. While of the main same party as President Buhari, Mr. Tinubu has worked in private sector in the United States and Nigeria and will likely adopt a different and more technocrat approach to governance, especially on the economic front. Despite the differences between the two candidates, the next president is expected to adopt a less centralized approach to the economy and more business-friendly policies. Regardless of the winner, the challenges ahead are such that even under a best scenario, it will be several years to recap or also reap the benefits of reforms in the beautiful country of Nigeria. We want to thank you for watching. Hopefully we've informed you regards to the challenges and also the issues that the country of Nigeria should face at the moment, and looking at the country's perspectives in terms of its critical juncture in the country's history. We will be looking at how the 2023 will usher in regards to elections in Nigeria. We are wishing the Nigerian people luck in this particular strategic period in their history. We want to thank you for watching. If you are new here, we encourage you to check some of our informative videos on this YouTube channel. We are looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.